Venkatesh is a true advocate for change. He is a climate champion and is also the co-founder of The Conscious Humans, a platform that is not just about words but about actions. He's dedicated to motivating young people to take meaningful steps towards a more sustainable future. Venkatesh reminds us that our choices ripple far beyond ourselves, affecting not only our lives but the very planet we call home. His journey is a testament to the power of collective action and the belief that a sustainable lifestyle is within our reach. Hi Venkatesh, how are you first of all? Thank you for joining us for our series, which is, getting inspired by climate champions across the country. And so let's, I'll start by asking that because you yourself are an environmentalist. What, according to you, how would you describe climate change in one sentence?
Okay, so climate change affects people disproportionately. So that is one of the biggest thing that I am really affected by as a person, because I've worked on the field, I've worked with communities, I've worked with different people from different civil societies and organizations. And the one thing that I observed is that the emissions that are being done by the richest people, by the developed nations, they are disproportionately affecting the people who are in the developing countries or poor countries, and especially the people who are marginalized and do not have the resources to adapt to these changes. So that is one liner for the climate change thing.
Thank you, thank you. And how do you see the role of young people in driving climate action, both
Yeah.
at the local and global level?
Okay, great. So when I started my journey in 2019, I was just a school pass out, and I was just exploring different options. I was preparing for different competitive examinations, and I found about this organization named Swapna Foundation through a mutual friend of mine. And I always had that knack, for helping people and for doing something for the environment, and participating in voluntary organizations. So I joined the organization in December, and initially I was skeptical because I earlier I was not that much of a social person. I was a very introverted person, to be honest. And you can take this as an inspiration of all those who are introverts, because I was an introvert when I started this journey. And right now, when I see my change that I have seen in myself, the personality I have developed, till now it has been a drastic change, and I'm very proud that I took that step in that particular month. So I started my journey there. I started working with communities. We used to go to slum areas to teach children, and we used to teach them about climate change. We used to teach them about keeping the environment clean. We used to give them knowledge about why is it important to preserve our nature, why they have a great role to play. Each and every one of them has a role to play. We used to teach them about space, so it was a really good experience. Then moving on to the year 2020, I was appointed as the head of one of the environmental conservation wings in the organization named Bhumit Initiative. So we collaborated with the UP Forest Department, and we participated in a sapling plantation drive. And that was the first time that I really got to be part of planting those small babies on the field. And it was, I think, I don't exactly remember the area we went to, but it was a completely barren land, and that method called Miyawaki afforestation was being applied for the first time there. And we went there in a team of around 40-50 students from different schools and colleges. All were youngsters, and we just planted trees there with the help of all the local women there who were appointed to plant the trees. It was a really great experience. And we started planning cleanup activities. We started planning plog walks. We started planning awareness campaigns on the street. we started this trend of called the post cleanup ritual. So because when youngsters, we used to find people who can help us voluntarily in these activities, and to be honest, there are not much youngsters who are interested towards such activities because everyone has their involvement and priorities. So what we did is we used to keep up with the current trends on Instagram, and that was our anchor point for for exciting the youngsters to participate in our activities. So and we got a lot of youngsters to that activity basically, and we right now our team of that initiative has more than 200 youngsters. So it's really possible, and for all the youngsters out there who want to do something, and we have that constant thought that I need to do something, I need to go different from the crowd, but they don't know how. It's initially just finding out about organizations in your areas. That's the first step you can do as an individual, because at times you do not have the resources to start something or begin something from completely from our side. So if you're that sort of person who needs help in the initial period of time, you can always look for organizations in your place of residence. You can google it. Everything is available online. Like internet is a it's a blessing for all of us. So we can find such organizations who are working in this area. We can just fill up the form. And I still remember the first time I filled the form for this organization, I received a small message that you have been selected as a volunteer and we'll be glad to meet you. That was the first starting point of it. I was very happy that I'll be meeting new people, I'll be able to socialize, and finally I'll be able to get out of my social bubble and really do something impactful on the field. So all of those youngsters who have that feeling that they feel that they're in a bubble, they want to do something, they want to get out of their comfort zone, and they want to directly get involved with communities, and they want to take action on the ground, always feel free to search on websites. If you're in Lucknow, there are a load of organizations, like there is Swapna Foundation, there is Litter Free India, there is MASH Project, and all those different organizations who are working in that area. And eh, whichever city you're in, you can basically find anything. There are a lot of people, and even if you do not have the time commitment to work for a different organization, you can always opt for starting from your home. You can set up, the first thing you can do is, I always used to have a fight with my mother that we used to have one dustbin in our home. And when I got a bit conscious about the environment, I used to poke her that, Mummy, we need another dustbin. We need to separate the dry waste and the wet waste. And she always used to go like, साफ कौन करेगा उसे? Who will clean the dustbin? तुम करोगे तो बताओ, मैं लगा देती हूँ. So I used to convince her, I used to poke her about that. So you can basically keep two separate dustbins. You can compost your waste that is being generated. You can, you know, make basic swaps of the daily items that you use. You can swap your plastic brush with a bamboo brush. You can prefer glass bottles. You can prefer steel bottle, copper bottles, clay bottles. There is so many things in the market right now, and there are websites like Brown Living, Honest, which have load of items where you can choose it from. So that are the basic starting point for any individual. And if there is anyone who would like to get involved in research, there are think tanks such as CEW, there is CAC, and there are various organizations where you can just cold email them, and probably if you're lucky you'll find an opportunity with them. You can also work with WWF India. They have volunteering opportunities for every part of India. So it's a great starting point for anyone. And the possibilities are limitless. It's just about taking the first step and believing that yes, you'll get somewhere. If you apply to 10 places, you'll get into one or two places for sure. That's for sure. And you'll find people, you'll make connections. I've made so many good friends in this journey who have helped me, who have pushed me to further my goals. And that is why we started the Conscious Human Things, which was basically an environmental magazine. We have a team of more than 14-15 people now. And when we were discussing, is I am the co-founder, and one of the founder is Sarah. We started this thing together, and we didn't think that it'll turn out to be such a good idea. But right now we have a team of 14-15 people who are working. They are posting blogs, they are giving their time voluntarily to that magazine, and we plan to expand this thing further and to monetize it. So the possibilities are endless. As I said, it's just about taking the first step, and I'm always open to talking to youngsters and guiding them. If they need my help, I'm always available.
That's amazing, Venkatesh. That's
Yeah,
very inspiring also. So, if
yeah,
you can just take us through your journey, what
yeah,
inspired you exactly to, become an advocate for climate action? And also,
yeah,
you just mentioned about a magazine that you run, which is the Conscious Humans.
yeah,
I'm very curious to know more, because
yeah,
I just read that, this magazine is a quarterly environmental magazine, if I'm right. And
yeah,
this
yeah,
magazine is actually helping young people to educate themselves on climate change and being aware of what exactly is happening around the world,
yeah,
what
yeah,
actions are people taking, the innovations, and what is their role, their
yeah,
responsibility when it
yeah.
comes to contributing to climate activism. So if you can highlight a bit more about what exactly is this magazine and how are you
Yeah.
promoting eco-friendly alternatives through it, and also if you can take us through, through your journey of this inspiring work
Yeah,
that you're doing.
yeah, yeah. So as I started, I started my journey in 2019. Then in 2020, I was appointed as the head of the Women Initiative wing that works for environmental conservation. And the basic starting point was, as I discussed, I always had that knack within me. I had that constant pinning inside me that you have to do something different. You have to do something different. People, you have an altruistic personality, so just go with the flow and try something. Just try something and see if you're good at it. And eventually I found out that I'm good at that particular things where I like to work with communities. I'm a person who, I am definitely not a desk person, to be honest. I am a person who likes to go out on the field, and whenever my mother talks to different relatives of mine, she always says कि इसके तो पैर ही नहीं टिकते हैं घर पे. He is always outside. But to be honest, the COVID era that came in 2020, I was really affected by that period because in the organization I was working for, we had a particular team called COVID Info Force. So what we did is we used to collect information from various stakeholders who provide oxygen and all those things, all the resources, and we used to provide it to people who actually need them. So that was a period that I was really affected by the things that were going on, and that struck a chord within me. And I realized, I observed, personally observed the changes the environment was having, because uh, the climate has changed drastically. There are erratic rainfall patterns, people are being affected, and the people who have the least to contribute to the crisis are being affected the most. So that was the part that really triggered that inside me. And it was even exacerbated when I went to the field. I worked with different communities. I used to work with, there was a particular slum, there is an area in Aliganj in Lucknow called Aliganj. So I used to teach children there. I also used to teach children in an area called Daliganj. So it was a railway line, and the slum areas were established along the railway line. And I used to interact with the children there. I used to work with people there, and I firsthand saw that with the struggles that they are already having in their day-to-day life, it is being even more exacerbated by the climate crisis. They are completely vulnerable to the crisis. They don't have any resources at their, which can come to the rescue when that disaster is happening. So they are completely exposed. We have this four wall structure, we have ACs, we have fans, we have all the facility that is being provided to us, but they don't have that facility. So I was affected personally by that struggle of theirs, and that was a point that every time I used to question that am I making an impact. I used to go out there, I used to work with them, I used to interact with them, and it used to trigger me even further that I need to keep doing this thing. I don't need to step back from this. So that was the point that inspired me to go on, to keep doing what I am doing. And the basic problem that we identified was there is a widespread lack of awareness, and there is a lack of willingness among the people to change their behavior. Like even in the course I am studying now, we see a lot of data, we see a lot of analysis, we see a lot of reports that are coming in, but the basic thing the we are having a problem with is that we're not changing behaviorally, we're not changing psychologically, we're
Mindsets,
not believing.
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that is the problem we are having right now, because it's very hard to, where our mind is generally resistant to change. We are in our comfort bubble, we are in a small bubble, and we like to stay the way. We do not want someone in this era. The Gen Z and all the youngsters are like, हमें poke मत करो, हम जैसे हैं ठीक है. We are fine the way we are. Even the people who are away, we do not like people to poke us. So uh, I personally feel that for India and for other countries to progress as nations who take the SDGs forward, who take the goals of sustainable development and lifestyle forward, and even the mission life that was started by Prime Minister, we need to have that psychological change, and we really need to believe that climate change is happening and it's all out there. It's all out there. So that was the part where inspired me, and I started working further when we used to work with different schools. We used to organize workshops with them. We used to work with CMS. We used to call students, because I personally, when I was in school, there used to be an SUPW period, and it was basically dedicated to social work, but we didn't have any social work. Some teacher used to come there and take extra class. So I used to be very pissed off that what is this, yaar? I need to go out there, and we were promised that we will go to that old age home, we will go to that orphanage, we will do this cleanup. Why are we not going? So I used to be very keen to participate in such activities. So we thought of this idea where we used to invite school students with us to the cleanup areas, and they used to be, when the drive ended, when the cleanup drive ended, they used to come to us and they used to thank us ki, thank you so much bhaiya didi, like the perspective that we have got through this drive, like the basic items like milk packets, chips packets, chocolates that we are using, it we are able to see them here in the rivers or in the landfills, and they are being eaten by the marine life, and they are dying because of that. So it's whenever I talk to people, I like to talk to them about the life cycle of a plastic bottle. It's like whenever you drink water and you throw it in the dustbin, it's not restricted to that dustbin. It keeps on, in that chain. From that dustbin is picked up by the Nagar Nigam people, and I'd like to requote. I'll not like to take their name, but it's like it's picked up by certain authorities, and then it's taken to certain places. It's dumped in certain places, which creates a problem, which generate methane emissions. It goes to the rivers. Marine animals consume them. They die off, and it creates a problem because it's like a circular thing. Everything that we do, it's come back to us. So that is the basic problem that we encountered. This journey kept on moving, and then we started this conscious humans in 2022. So our basic inspiration to start this was, as we observed through, it was basic observation through my work and the work of Sarah. She has been working even before me. So we observed that there is a lack of awareness even among the youngsters, and if we need to change the perspective and the psychological behavior of people, which is the root cause of this problem, we need to aware them, we need to educate them about the climate crisis, and we need to tell them that yes, there is a different lifestyle which is possible, which can be carried out by you. So we started this magazine, environmental magazine. We formed a team of around 13-14 people. We were good at digital marketing, so we got some people. We curated the magazine. We were skeptical about it at the first time, that nobody would read it who would like to read, and so we were like, we'll like to keep the magazine as short as possible. So we included the stories of youngsters in order to promote the magazine. We thought there is no magazine that is promoting youngsters who are working at the grassroots level, or who are starting their own enterprises to make an impact on a bigger level. We identified those youngsters under the age of 18, and we featured them on the magazine, and it received a very good response. We gave it a title of TCH 18 under 18. So we featured 18 people under the age of 18 who are doing extremely good work at the ground level, and they are those youngsters who are generally not in the spotlight, because in this era, if you have good marketing, you can portray your skills in a way that actually not are in that way. So we identified people who are actually working on the ground, and they are not able to market themselves. We talked about their journeys. We conducted interviews with them. Then to educate people, we brought climate news from different parts of the world, and we featured it on different platforms. We uh, took news pieces from different parts of the world. We took it from India, and then we moved on to giving people sustainable lifestyle tips and tricks, because we identified that people want to take a switch to sustainable lifestyle. Even I just remembered that as part of my last year in BHU, I conducted a project report. We have to make a project. So the project that I carried out was the single-use plastic consumption by people and how is it impacting the environment. So upon conducting a survey of around 160 people, I found out that almost 96% people in that survey wanted to make a switch to a sustainable lifestyle, but they don't know how, or they find sustainable lifestyle a bit expensive.
Expensive, exactly, right.
Yeah. So that made me realize that there is a still that gap of lack of awareness, because they don't
Awareness
know
and
the.
information, education, right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So we, to identify those gaps, we gave people sustainable lifestyle tips and tricks, and we also gave a platform to youngsters who want to portray their thoughts and opinions, who want to write articles and they are not getting the proper platform. It can be anything, through art, through poetry, through story writing, through article writing, through editorials, through photographs. We invited all such youngsters to contribute towards this magazine, and we received a good response from youngsters. And I when I read those article pieces by different members, even I was inspired that there is a lot of different perspective and things going on in the mind of youngsters. It is not like they are not interested in this. Everybody is interested and they are willing to do, but there are such certain gaps that need to be filled, and if we are identifying those gaps, we can fill those gaps in. So that was the basic idea of the magazine. We curated the magazine, and now we are about to come with the second edition of the magazine, and also we are planning to expand it to a we are planning to set up different enterprises across India which offer sustainable lifestyle products at an affordable cost, because right now the products are very expensive, and it's because the raw products that are being obtained by different vendors, it's expensive because you're not getting the subsidies, and then you do not have the expertise, you do not have the people who are ready to work at a lower cost. So what we identified was we're going to work with different organizations. We're going to pick people who are unemployed, who can be upskilled, and who we can offer certain employment. They can be either from the urban background or rural background. We can even take the help of youngsters who are willing to contribute, and then we will form a group of people and we will form certain products which we can offer in in an affordable manner. We will start with e-commerce functions, and then generally we will move on to establishing local centers across different cities. So right now it's just a plan. It will need a lot of efforts, and it will need a lot of funding, and it will need a lot of collaboration, but hopefully we will make it possible in the next possible years, because right now we have a lot of commitments, so we are still working. Like there isn't any day where when we are not working. So we're trying our best to come up with new ideas, to implement it on the ground, and to come up with newer things. So yeah, like hats off to people who are in my team, all the youngsters and all the people who are contributing in their team. There are a lot of people. There is Dinesh, Archana, and all the people. So yeah, that was the basic journey, and that is the basic thing about the conscious humans. And yeah,
That all of that actually sounds so amazing and inspiring. Also, Venkatesh, if you can tell us about how can anyone access this magazine? Is it
yeah.
available online as well, and how can people, young people, connect with you to also share their stories? Maybe
Yeah.
maybe the stories are now limited to a certain area. How can you
Yeah.
also expand? Having people from different states and different countries also sharing
Yeah.
their stories of change that they are making in their
Yeah.
communities.
Yeah.
If in brief you can tell us about that as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So we have a website by the name of www.theconscioushumans.com. So there's a particular tab in that by the name of magazine, where you can access the magazine. So you can download the magazine there. You can read it for free. It's a digital print right now. We are planning to bring hard copies as well in by the next year, but due to certain problems and costs involved, we are not able to do that. And we were also thinking that to make it environmentally conscious, we will keep it digital for a particular period of time. because when we print it, there are certain colors, there are dyes involved, there are paper involved, so we are avoiding to do that. But we will try to market it in a way that digitally it becomes a reference point, it becomes a good product that people would like today. It's more like a, as one of my teammates says ki, Dinesh said ki, it can be a very good tabletop magazine. So we're planning to do that very soon. So and if there is some youngsters who would like to contribute to a magazine, you can reach us out through our Instagram page. We have an Instagram page by the name of the Conscious Humans. You can DM us on that. You can contribute your article to that. We also have an email ID by the name of the conscioushumans@gmail.com. Or you can even reach out to me. I have an Instagram handle by the name of the Climate Kid, and you can also reach out to Sarah, who's the other founding member. She also has an Instagram page by the name of Sarah Indian. You can reach out to us anytime. You can talk to us. You can contribute any sort of article or piece of art that you have, and you would like to get it featured on the magazine. Because the magazine we are planning to get on different magazines and different platforms. Even the magazine is also available to read on Amazon Kindle right now. We got selected there as well, and we have been featured by Youth Ki Awaaz and Times of India as well. So if there's anyone who would even like to contribute to blog articles on a magazine, feel free to reach out to us. We're open to anyone who would like to contribute, and yeah, that's more of it.
Thank you so much, Venkatesh. The idea sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It is, the concept itself is so interesting. Congratulations to you and all your efforts that you're doing, and best of luck for everything. One last question, if you could just tell me in a sentence or two, because COP28 is approaching, right? Do
Yeah.
you have any message for the world leaders? Like, what actions are required by the world leaders now? And anything
Yeah.
specific for India, just in a sentence or two, if you can tell us in brief. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think my message to the world leaders would be to focus more on behavioral change among the stakeholders and the people who are involved in the decision making and policy making. Because we can just, as youngsters, we can just right now we can rant about things, we can go conduct cleanup awareness campaigns, we can do ground level work, we can collaborate with people. But the people who are actually in the position of making a change, I would request all of you to think from the perspective of people who are actually being affected by this crisis, the underprivileged people who are being disproportionately being affected. And that is the basic climate inequality that I would like the world leaders to address. And as a youngster, I would just ask them to take this thing seriously, because it's really getting serious right now. So, and even involve people who are willing to contribute, involve youngsters such as all of us who have that knack to change the crisis, who have the knack to contribute towards this crisis, involve indigenous people, involve people who are actually being affected by this crisis in the decision making process, in the policy making process. And yeah, I think that is all for the world leaders.
Thank you so much, Venkatesh.
Yeah.
Those were very inspiring words. I am very inspired by your journey, and as an organization, because we are very limited to addressing the issues that we are addressing, and we do also kind of, because we are working on gender, so gender has that intersection with climate also. So we would love to connect with you in future, collaborate with you, and work with you, and learn so much more with you. Thank you so much for doing this with us, and hope to connect with you very soon. Thank you.
For sure. It was lovely to have this interaction, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Means a lot. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.